Ron Howard's life is often remembered as a seamless rise from child star to acclaimed filmmaker, yet beneath that polished arc lies a story shaped by early fame, pressure, and emotional displacement. Born into a working acting family, he entered television sets before he could fully understand childhood itself. The world knew him as Opie Taylor and later Richie Cunningham, symbols of innocence and American optimism. But behind the camera, he navigated instability, expectation, and isolation. This account reframes his journey toward resilience, creativity, and self-defined purpose through storytelling and eventual transformation into a filmmaker of lasting impact legacy. Childhood on set. He entered Hollywood before he could form lasting memories of a normal childhood, growing up amid cameras, scripts, and production schedules that replaced ordinary routines. Studio life shaped his days, with schooling conducted in makeshift classrooms and interruptions from filming that blurred boundaries between work and learning. While audiences saw a cheerful boy on screen, his off-screen reality was defined by schedules, supervision, and limited peer connection. He later reflected that constant movement and lack of stability created a quiet emotional distance, where belonging felt temporary and approval became something he unconsciously learned to chase continuously later. Isolation and bullying outside the studio. Fame created unexpected cruelty as classmates associated him with his television character rather than his real identity. Teasing and isolation followed him through school corridors, where the image of Opie became both recognition and burden. One deeply embarrassing childhood incident left a lasting psychological imprint, reinforcing his fear of public failure and judgment. He described feeling overwhelmed in moments where expectations from adults and audience blurred into a single pressure, making even small mistakes feel catastrophic and inescapable, shaping a lifelong sensitivity to approval, criticism, and the fear of disappointing others again persisting later. Typecasting and constraints. Despite growing experience, he found himself repeatedly confined to youthful familiar roles that prevented artistic range and reinvention. Producers often saw him only through the lens of Opie or Richie, limiting opportunities beyond established audience expectations. Each audition carried subtle rejection, reinforcing the belief that he could not escape his earliest and most recognizable roles. He later understood that success within a single defining role can become a barrier, where recognition turns into restriction and audience expectation replaces artistic freedom, making growth difficult despite increasing skill, ambition, and awareness of his own creative potential over time later. The Monroe's setback. At 13, he briefly stepped away from Mayberry in search of independence through a new television project that promised creative distance. The series struggled to find an audience and was canceled after a short run, leaving him disappointed and uncertain. He began questioning whether his identity was too tied to childhood fame to ever evolve beyond it. This period marked a turning point where ambition collided with limitation, forcing him to confront the difficulty of being accepted outside established roles, while still carrying the expectations of audiences who struggled to separate actor from character over time period, Happy Days era. When he joined Happy Days, he expected renewed visibility, but quickly found himself overshadowed by the breakout popularity of other characters. The attention shifted toward Fonzie, leaving his role comparatively understated despite his consistent performance. Public perception often reduced him to a secondary presence within the show's larger cultural impact. He navigated frustration while continuing to study directing and storytelling, using limited screen space as an opportunity to observe production closely, gradually shifting his focus from acting recognition toward understanding the mechanics of filmmaking and the possibilities behind the camera that would define his future career path. Transitioned to filmmaking gradually, he immersed himself in the technical aspects of filmmaking, observing directors, studying camera movement, and learning storytelling structure. He took notes during production, analyzing how scenes were built and how performances were shaped through direction. This quiet apprenticeship behind the camera became the foundation of his eventual shift from actor to filmmaker. By focusing on craft rather than fame, he slowly built confidence in storytelling, recognizing that creative control required patience, observation, and willingness to learn from every production experience. Even when his acting career felt constrained and uncertain, leading toward a new professional identity, forming breakthrough and expansion. His directorial breakthrough came with Night Shift, a modest comedy that surprised critics and marked his transition into directing. Success continued with Splash, which demonstrated his ability to balance commercial appeal with emotional storytelling. He co-founded Imagine Entertainment, building a production company that would influence television and film development for decades. With Apollo 13, he achieved critical acclaim by recreating the tension of real space survival with meticulous attention to authenticity, reinforcing his reputation as a director capable of combining human emotion with large-scale storytelling, precision and technical realism in cinema that defined his career trajectory. Legacy of storytelling. Ron Howard's journey reflects a transformation from constrained child actor to influential filmmaker shaped by experience rather than comfort. His early exposure to fame created both opportunity and emotional complexity that influenced his creative voice throughout life. He ultimately used storytelling as a way to process experience, turning pressure into empathy and limitation into perspective. His legacy continues not as a story of perfection, but as a reminder that creative resilience often emerges from constraint, uncertainty, and the willingness to reinterpret personal history into art that connects with audiences across generations and emotional landscapes over time enduring.